That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to MOTN Top 10. This is Masters of the Nerdiverse presents Top 10. Look at us with our tuxes out, with our bow ties so stiff like a fresh dollar bill. This is where we do a countdown of our favorite things within the pop culture nerdiverse. I'm of course, your host, Mike G. Of course, gosh. And back with me is the queen herself. She needs no introduction at this point. Tootie Odin.
What's up, man? I was trying so hard not to laugh during your intro.
It's stupid.
So stupid.
None of it's real.
What's up, dude? What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Toots, what you up to?
I've just been doing, man. I've just been doing just like you have, and I really did a lot of research on this thing, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out. Being a mom of a million children, I didn't really get out and see a lot of movies, especially the second half of this decade. But we'll see how this goes, man. I'm ready.
So if you've read the actual name of this episode, we're doing top 10 films of the decade because it's the end of the year and it's the end of the decade, and this will be a nice little aperitif before we brush our teeth and prepare for this next 10 years of eating. That sounds horrifying, actually. Remember that Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy was force feeding that kid and her face got all fat like a Garbage Pail Kid?
Yes, but see, now I'm mixing that up with Simpsons and Satan doing that.
Satan
to
eat all the donuts
Homer.
in the world.
Yeah, I'm mixing both scenes together. So I'm picturing her eating donuts.
I'm picturing Homer being stuffed by Freddy. That's probably a fanfic out there.
That sounds like something you're going to draw later.
Yeah, it's dumb. I can't help but draw it. So we've had a crazy decade of film, ranging from the hoity-toity art deco stuff to just the stupidest of films. And I think me and Miss Odin here have kind of varying tastes a little bit. Kind of the difference between Coke and caffeine-free Coke. I won't say which one is which, but
I'm definitely not the caffeine-free one.
I'm full of caffeine.
Holy crap.
I'm
like Mountain Dew.
Damn.
There's like Mountain Dew in my veins. I don't even drink it, but I swear to God, that's what's coming out.
I'm 13% Monster Energy drink at this
That's
point.
gross.
It's horrifying. Let's get into our lists.
Yeah, let's do that. So most of my list, probably not a big shock, is going to be horror films. That's my thing. That's my bag. It's what I do. I love being scared. I love being mind effed. And yeah, so I mean, it's not all. I try to go as diverse as possible and just really, really think about the movies I have seen that I actually did enjoy, and then from there pick exactly which one's your favorite.
Which one is your favorite?
They were squozed into this one movie, so
yeah, so it's like orange juice. It's a melange,
show,
as the French would say. So let's start with your number 10. What's your number 10 of this decade?
So my number 10 is not, it's not really the bangiest movie ever, but my number 10 is The Help.
The Help.
The Help. Made in 2011. Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Emma Stone, Bryce Dallas Howard. I think it did win some Oscar awards. I think it's not really necessarily the reason why I liked it. I think I enjoyed the movie because it was very very real. I thought it was a real. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I think it's based off a true story.
It was. Yeah. It's based off a true story, but it was just. I like movies that suck you in, and that's one of those that it was like reading a good book. I mean, it's based off a book, but that's basically what it was for me. And I ate it up. I ate up the whole movie. I understood why. Of course, the actors are absolutely phenomenal. And every role that they played, they were very. Every single role was like as human as those characters were supposed to be. Like for the parts that they were playing, Bryce Dallas Howard was horrible. And it was just, she was just, I loved it. I loved it. It was good. But anyway, that's my number 10. I don't know if.
What was that movie about, actually?
It was about oh, you made me draw a blank. What the hell? It's basically about Emma Stone wanting to write the Emma Stone, whatever the character's name is. 'Cause I don't remember the character.
Yeah.
But wanting to write their story, the story of these women who have to sit there and work for these rich people and basically take care of their children, and I don't remember the reason why she wanted to actually why this came about, except for the fact that she's wanting an up and coming journalist. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why her and Viola Davis connected the way they did.
Yeah.
Which took a while because she was totally against it at first. She was like, "No way, this is a bad idea," and this and that. And it was during the, I believe the 60s or 70s when segregation was a huge thing, and there's still some form of slavery, which is not what they called it, obviously.
Right.
Housekeeping and whatever you wanted to call it back then. But but yeah, so I guess at the time, being a modern movie, definitely not a controversy now, which is probably what made the movie so funny, because there was actually a lot of comedy in it also.
Yeah.
But for the time,
That's
I'm
nice.
sure what they tried to publish and what they ended up publishing in the book, in telling these women's stories and how they actually had to work for these people, who were good people, some of them, most of them, not very, but it just was unheard of. This white woman helping, these black folks for whatever reasons and whatever intentions that she had. So basically that's the movie. It's just basically like having to hide and at the same time being able to expose things. So it was a good movie. It was really good.
Yeah, the
That's
black
my-
hand shaking the white hand.
The black hand shaking the white hand.
I'm all with it. Black and white cookie mode.
Everything's a Simpsons reference, so
Everything.
catch them.
It's catch them if you can.
You're number 10.
My number 10 for these years that we've passed was Drive, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn in 2011, and this was a bit of a interesting one because I just recently rewatched it. And this is a movie with Ryan Gosling, and he plays kind of a stunt driver who's like caught up with like nefarious folks. And he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, where the woman he kind of cares for is in a toxic relationship. But at the same time, he has to do one last nefarious act for a crime boss that kind of has him in a precarious situation. And the reason it made my list is because Ryan Gosling he kind of reminds me of an action hero, but like the most softest kind of low key action hero. Where he's a man of few words. He's kind of like Clint Eastwood in this movie, where he doesn't say a lot, but he acts a lot through his body language and through his actions. And the movie is shot like a neon dream, where it's very colorful, but it's also very subdued. It's like almost like a crime noir, the way this movie works.
I haven't
itself.
seen it. I have not seen this
beautiful.
movie.
Drive is
Wow,
super
how
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I'm imagining Speed Racer for some reason very bright and
it's like,
maybe not so fast paced. But
it's like Speed Racer is primary colors, where this movie is pastels. So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is The Social Network.
Really? I never saw that.
In 2010 it came out.
2010.
Not like the greatest movie on earth, but the reason why it made my list is 2 reasons, actually. One, it actually was a good movie. It was a really good movie. It was almost very kind of... Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite all-time directors ever. I will not like anything he's ever made, ever.
Yeah.
That was a lot of double negatives. I'm sorry.
Not.
But I can care less.
Yep,
He's brilliant. All his movies are the same formula, same everything, but I don't care. There's something about it. There's something about... He's like a heroine.
He's a style of
like
director.
heroine for me. Like, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, this movie has a little bit of that in it. So anything with sprinkled Scorsese in it, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
This movie was beautifully done. Directed by... Who was it directed by? David Fincher. Jesse Eisenberg, Armie Hammer, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
My boyfriend Justin Timberlake's in it. You can't go wrong. I mean, these actors are... Jesse Eisenberg is probably one of my favorite actors. Maybe not so much now. I don't really know. I'm not really familiar with anything he's doing lately, but
yeah,
I kind of like the way he soaks himself into things. So, it was, it's an interesting movie. It's about the beginning of Facebook, which obviously has completely revolutionized the internet and revolutionized the world as we see it today. So it's a good movie, not a documentary, not necessarily completely historically accurate, I guess. But I mean, what Hollywood movie about a true story really is? Okay, so it's in my list and probably one of my favorite movies because it's about Facebook. It's about the actual creation of Facebook. It's kind of important. In fact, again, it's not historically accurate movie, I guess, but how, it's just everybody's on Facebook, and if you're not on it, you know about it and you're annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Everybody has an opinion on it because it has
everything to do with the earth now.
everything.
It's pretty much.
It's the middle of it's the middle of everything.
It's a cornerstone of civilization at this point.
So that's pretty much why it made my list, because it didn't. It's not just a movie to be made. It's a movie that actually was made at the perfectly right time, because we didn't know that this boom was about to happen pretty much right after the movie was made. It was right in the middle of Facebook kind of gaining its popularity or whatever. When the movie was made, Facebook was not what it is today. So that's why I made the list, because it's just this whole decade changed, and a lot of that change has been because of Facebook. So,
and part of it's funny. It's like, you would think it would be like some kind of weird marketing twist, like the best way to advertise Facebook is to create a Oscar-winning movie about it. But the story is so fascinating.
Yeah, right. The story is actually pretty good.
It balances out. So it's not like, okay, that would be the most interesting marketing ploy ever, right?
Right.
Let's just make a documentary about our product and spend hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's pretty interesting.
To make billions of dollars.
Right. That I never even looked at it that way. And that's very possible that's what happened.
Probably.
I don't know. I didn't look it up, but I don't know if it won any awards. I'm pretty sure it was nominated for this and that and the other, but I don't know if it actually won anything.
Interesting. I just think that's kind of fascinating.
So let's hear your number 9.
My number 9, and you mentioned like the Attack of the Horror movies, because that's what we're into.
Right.
And this is one of my favorite horror movies in quite some time, and it was The Witch. The Witch.
The Vavitch. Right.
Directed by Robert Eggers in 2015. And a lot of people don't like this movie because it's such a slow burn.
It is.
It's such a cold movie.
I almost gave up on it myself.
It's such a homework assignment this movie is.
The only reason why I did not give up on it is because I actually am attracted to the way they were talking, because I read the Bible. So it's like I understood everywhere. It's like, okay, I'm still in it. Like, I don't know. Like I like that talk. It was the thys and the those and all that. I'm
it was
cool
the
with it.
dad who had this stupid, gravelly, almost churny voice. And this actor, I forget his name, which is acting his ass off. Because you saw him angry,
Right.
you saw him happy, you saw him devastated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's a good one, dude.
I love the Vavitch. It's so subtle in everything it does.
I almost put it on my list, but I didn't because it's boring.
It's so boring, but I eat it up. I don't know what it is.
So do I. Like I liked it.
I love the scenes where the baby was taken and Thomason felt guilty about it. The scene of the son.
What's the goat's name? Black Phillip.
Black Phillip is the realest, dude. And I love the story behind that the actual goat was terrorizing the set, and just wrecking everything.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I heard that too.
And it took me 2 watches to realize that the witch actually grinded the child to make herself young. Like she took the baby and grinded it.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yes.
Good
stuff.
I love that movie. I can talk about the Vavitch all day. The reason we're saying it that way is because the way it's written, it's with the stupid 2 V's. So if you don't say it right, people get mad. So this is for those theater nerds out there.
The Witch.
It's called The Witch. No, it's not. It's called The Vavitch.
The Vavitch.
The Vavitch, stupid. Well, what's your number 8?
My number 8 is also a horror movie.
Number 8.
It is The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ooh, I like that one.
It is a very good horror movie.
I want to talk about that
very
one.
Very quiet, but very subtle, but very creepy. But things just gradually happen, and you're like, did that just happen? And you're just not sure if it did. And then like eventually you realize, oh shit, yep, it's happening.
It's happening.
Directed by Andre Ovredal. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying it right.
Andre's over there.
Exactly. Starring Brian Cox, Emma Hirsch, and Ophelia. What's her name? Ophelia Lovibon. And how do you say his name? Emil Hirsch?
Emil Hirsch.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in Speed Racer. He played Steve.
He's a Speed Racer guy.
Yep.
Good movie. Go. I want to hear you. Because I know you've seen it, but we've just never seen it together.
That movie is another slow burn where it's a mystery that unravels itself as you're watching it, like you said, and it just constantly builds and builds until you kind of know what's going on. And by then, it's too late for everyone involved.
Yes.
It's too late for everyone involved. And it's one of those movies that starts at the beginning, that starts at the end kind of situation.
Yes.
Where it's almost like this traveling curse that's going on. Not to spoil. And we may spoil some films, but it just depends on it.
You've had 10 years, people.
You've had 10 years. But definitely watch the Autopsy of Jane Doe if you've never seen it.
Please.
It's a bit of a mystery. It's definitely a scary film, and it's just fascinating. It's a fascinating watch, you know what I mean? So I highly recommend that one.
It's very quiet, very few jump scares. It's very good to watch.
It's just very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Number 8.
Number 8. You're number 8. You're number 8.
My number 8, which is one of those movies that come around every once in a while that just change how movies are made for a while. It's its own kind of poster boy, where it just adjusts people's view of action, of drama, of comedy. Like those things that come around. And this is Inception by Christopher Nolan, 2010.
Okay, cool.
And this movie was transcendent in its approach of the layers of the mind and how you can affect that, and how effective it is to implant ideas into people, and how the blur of the line between dream and reality, and what's really real and what isn't, and what do you consider real is more important than what the world considers real.
Yeah.
It's just this mind F of a movie.
Yeah, it's a mind F. I still don't understand. I think I may have seen it twice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since because it turns me off.
Yeah.
To be honest. It's like I can't. I'm all for those kinds of movies that want to fuck with me, but there's too many questions. Like that movie was just like there's too many questions that I'm not getting answers to, but like personal answers, like theological, not about the movie itself, just like in my own, like
it makes you question yourself.
Yeah, like kind of a little bit, and that was just a little bit too much.
For real. Like that's why this is on my list, and the action is insane. Of course, Leonardo DiCaprio, he overacts to me, but it's fine. Leo's a weird actor to me.
Let me think.
Leo is just a weird actor.
Yeah, he does overact. I think, but
but it's cool.
Why are we okay with that?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
He
does overact.
He has that George Clooney-ism where like Wolf of Wall Street Leo is a calmer version of just Inception Leo, right? It's a weird thing where he's just
Shutter Island Leo is
amazing. But it's
just
still
like
another
Inception
version.
Leo.
Exactly. It's a more tormented version of Inception Leo. They all could be the same guy. But that's the Samuel Jacksonism of
Gilbert
it.
Grape Leo is almost like Titanic Leo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Why are we doing this?
Why are we okay with
I don't
that?
care. I don't know.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon over here. But just all that to say, Inception is awesome. If you haven't seen it, what the hell? Watch it. It's a great action film. It's a great mind F of a film. And yes, he wasn't dreaming at the end of the movie.
He wasn't dreaming?
No.
Everything was real? I have to watch this. I gotta rewatch it. I gotta rewatch it.
Is everything real?
Yeah, I gotta rewatch it. This is yeah, I gotta rewatch it. That's
fun stuff. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is The Big Short. Came out in 2015.
Oh, that movie jacked me up.
I loved it. So good.
That movie hurt my heart.
The Big Short, directed by Adam McKay.
Yeah.
It did win an Oscar, so it was a fairly popular film, I suppose. Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling. It's basically about these group of investors who bet against the U.S. Mortgage market, and the only reason why they do is because they discover what they call a bubble of destruction in the market, and
a bubble in the market. Yeah,
they actually predict the 28 market crash. They try to warn people, nobody listens to them. A couple of them try to bail out. I think the true story is 1 or 2 of them may have gone to jail. Or something like that. You know, just because they
because their money was getting so mixed up.
But it's a really good movie, and it's actually again it's similar to The Help. It's as historically accurate as Hollywood would allow it to be.
Yeah.
But still, man, it's very good.
That movie's a gut punch.
It really is. It really is.
Because it's literally Chicken Little.
Steve Carell's character in that movie, and I really wish I can remember his name because he played a real human.
He played real
people,
and you could see like they're just as exasperated,
right,
by the end of it. Like no one's listening to us,
right,
and it's like it's going to happen,
and
when it happens, and the world gets turned upside down. There's only like 2 or 3 of them who are okay because they prepared themselves.
Right. But
and
they're
everybody
still
else
scared
is
because they still have to figure out how they're going to bail out.
How are
we going to pull ourselves out of this?
And for the first time in like U.S. history, all the banks got bailed out at the same. Like money didn't exist for a couple of days.
Right, for a couple of days. It's insanity.
It's insanity, and it's like so many people lost their homes.
The thing that took me was I think towards the end of the movie, when they walk, everything's fucked.
Yeah.
They walk back into the stock exchange and it's completely empty. And there's papers thrown everywhere, all over the floor. Typical the way you would see a stock exchange while it's filled with people with the papers all over the floor and all that crap. Only it was it was a ghost town.
Yeah, it was like 28 days later.
It was quiet.
It was like 28 days later.
Nothing was happening. It was just like, did this actually happen? Because in 2008, I was in my 20s. What did I care? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were totally untouched by that as kids.
So I mean, not really, because I do remember it happening. I do remember Enron and all that BS. But
Enron,
but as an adult now, looking back, like, dude, I still think like, fuck, did that actually happen? Did that really happen to us? Like, that's a big deal.
That is a super big deal.
Which is why the movie made my list again, because it's timely. It was timely. It was like, I guess like The Social Network, it changed things. It's a movie about things that changed within our last decade, similar to Social Network.
Yeah,
so that's why it's here.
It's the perfect example of how one, it's just a great movie, and two, like it actually caused a impact in our country.
Right.
On in the world for that matter.
Right. Yeah. The whole.
That movie is too real for me. I felt horrible.
So we are on number 7. Let's hear
number 7.
Number 7.
My number 7 is here, and we always do this where we have like you'll have this super deep, meaningful number, and then I'm just butt rock, right? You're like Mr. Holland's Opus, and I'm just like Freddy Got Fingered over here. My number 7 is out of pure awesomeness, and that's Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, brother!
George Miller, 2015.
All right.
The doof warrior was a dude in Santa's. He was riding on a giant 16-wheeler that had 2-story base, like 2-story bass decks. And he had a guitar that shot real fire.
This is ridiculous.
It's stupid.
This is ridiculous.
There's a dude named MOTN Joe who has a Skeletor face. And he looks like something out of Captain EO.
I have not seen this, right?
It's
I know
the best
I haven't
movie
seen
ever.
this. So I know you're probably going to make me watch it.
Yes, it's one of those.
I haven't seen it.
It's one of those movies where I'm probably going to make you watch it right now.
It's going to piss me off.
It's going to make you upset because it's so stupid and awesome. There's bullet farmers. There's
nice.
Mad Max walks into.
Are they growing bullets, really?
Yes, bullet farmers. It's stupid. It's amazing.
I can't wait, Mike.
It's heavy metal. All of the effects were practical. There's not a touch of CG in this movie.
Okay, I'll watch it for that. If that's
insane.
The truth. If that's the truth, I'll totally watch it
All
for that.
the stunts are just done.
Okay. You sold me already. I don't care how stupid the movie is.
George Miller had this idea in his head for decades, and he just couldn't get the funding.
George Miller, is he Sin City guy?
Yeah. No, you're thinking of Frank Miller.
Oh, I'm thinking of Frank Miller.
Yeah.
And he's
Miller,
comic book guy.
Yeah, that's comic.
Yeah.
George Miller directed the first Mad Max in the 70s or something like that.
Okay.
Like Australian exploitation. Because that's where the dude was from.
Okay.
And he had this idea. And he was just fine-tuning this idea in his head for 20, 30 years. Until some idiot gave him the money to make this masterpiece.
Some idiot.
It rocks. It just kicks ass. The movie's just awesome.
You sold me on the fact that there's no CGI.
Charlize Theron has a metal arm. So what's your number 6?
See, my number 6 is just as douchebag as my number 7 because it means something to me.
It meant something.
It means something. So my number 6 is Blackfish, the documentary.
Okay.
Came out in 2013. It's about Tillicum the whale, who, was used and abused.
I'm not trying to laugh because this is hardcore, but I'm just cheese at the feds.
Hey! Stop. Do the noise.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry. Check it out.
We're good.
Blackfish it's a documentary for those who've never heard of it or don't know what it is. It's a documentary. I guess directed by Gabriella Cooper Thwatra. Anyway, it's on my list because impacts. I mean, films like this. We need films like this that make a difference. That change things. I mean, this film impacted. I mean, if you went to SeaWorld after this film came out, like,
you're a monster.
Yeah, you're a fucking monster.
How dare you.
My mom and my niece went, I think, for her birthday, and I was like, "Mom, what are you doing? It's so embarrassing." I was like, but that's what this film did. And the truth is, it actually made a difference. It changed things. It forced a lot of these parks to change.
The way they operate.
Change the way they operate. I don't know if they still have whales. If they do, I suppose.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
There's a certain like water to animal ratio.
But I do know, Yes, I do think that was like the biggest thing about the documentary is that the parking lot was like 20 times bigger than Shamu's tank or whatnot, and and that stuff is like, when we are not exposed to things like that, how the hell are we gonna know? And then you think like, well, so what does that have to do with me? Well, it has a lot to do with us. What if that was our kid? What if? I mean, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, this movie was man, it brought. The human world and the animal world, they're very disconnected. We have dogs, we have cats, big deal, big whoop. It's everything else that we seem to like. There's this whole other world of nature out there that movies like this and Planet Earth and things like that. Like,
and Free Willy.
And Free Willy. Oh my God, I was about to sing the song and I forgot it. But they connect us. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Blackfish, it deserves recognition, and it's definitely one of the best movies of the decade. Absolutely, hands down. Yeah,
they said it's the equivalent of, like, why are the whales getting upset? It's like because they're living their lives in the equivalent of you living in a
right.
bathtub.
They're sitting there attacking people, eating people, and things like that. They're trainers.
They're claustrophobically going insane.
Right. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, can you imagine? Definitely one of the best movies of the decade, hands down. It was revolutionary in its own way.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it. And your number 6 is, sir.
So our number 5, right? Number 6.
Your number 6.
My number 6. Yeah, number 6, the 60th. Here we go. This great influential film that brought awareness to animal cruelty. And my number 6 is John Wick.
Hey,
2014.
Yes.
Directed by Chad Stahelski. It is just awesome.
John Wick is the shit.
John Wick. It's one of the most surprising films of the decade.
Amazing.
Because no one expected this out of Keanu Reeves at this point of his life.
Yep.
Because after The Matrix, he kind of faded into film obscurity. Because you're like, okay, that was his big hit, right?
He did 1 or 2 movies that nobody heard of, nobody saw.
He just was quiet, because that's just how Keanu rules.
Japanese commercial or 2, I don't know.
Mr. Spockada. And Keanu Reeves is the salt of the earth. I only want this man, nothing the best for this man.
And he wants nothing but the best for us.
Isn't that amazing? I bet he smells good, dude. I want to hug his ass.
John Wick, yay.
John Wick is dope because it's the simplest premise in the whole world. Is that they woke up the devil, is pretty much what it is. Your sin woke up the devil. And it doesn't have to be a major sin. It was, you killed his dog, you stole his car. And it brought on the wrath of this very different, unstoppable killing machine. Whereas back in the day, like Commando and Rambo would be like these overly masculine machismo super killing machines with no finesse, with no kind of style. Whereas John Wick was a rapier, man. He was just cutting through these people with such precision,
He was like a 007 ninja.
He was like a ninja. And to know that...
suit.
What made it cooler is knowing that Keanu can actually do that in real life. That he took military training to learn how to be sufficient in that, so he really knows how to John Wick.
That's amazing.
Like he's taking there's like this behind the scenes thing of him like at a gun range.
He really knows how to John Wick.
He knows how to John Wick in real life.
Somebody teach me how to John Wick.
Dude, I love this movie, and I love the world building it does. Like there's this secret organization of assassins that nobody knows about. It reminded me of Underworld with Kate Beckinsale. How we live in this world, but there's another world under our world of just vampires and werewolves that no one is aware of. And like in John Wick, there's our world, but there's an underworld of these currencies and buildings and ways to do things and ways not to do things. And that was more fascinating than the bloodbath. Like I wanted to know more about these gold coins and the Continental.
I wonder, like, if something like that really does exist.
It makes it real. It makes it seem like that could be something like that.
There's a lot of movies where there's underground things happening underground that we don't know about.
That we don't know about.
Maybe they're just giving us a hint. Hollywood likes to do that.
Hollywood likes to give us
drops those real life Easter eggs.
Real life Easter eggs. You know,
mole people. Maybe mole people exist. You know,
man, lizard people are real.
John Wick's a mole.
John Wick is a mole people. The Baba Yaga, dog. He killed the guy with a fucking pencil. So. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
That's my number 7, man. Or number 6, rather.
Oh, that's a good number 6.
I love that movie. I'll watch it.
That was kick-ass.
Also, one of the most perfect trilogies. It's a perfect trilogy.
Yes. I was going to mention that too.
Yeah.
And I was going to say all 3 movies are perfect.
Yeah, it's very rare.
Yeah,
but
sure.
the John Wick trilogy, as it stands now, it's perfect.
For sure.
It's up there with like Evil Dead in like, you know what I'm saying? Like of the perfect trilogies. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is a horror movie.
Yeah.
So we're back to some fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's always fun with Toots.
The Babadook.
The Babadook.
2014.
Babadook.
Jennifer Kent, director. It's an Australian horror movie, not American made. Super, super amazing, super scary. The actress, her name is Essie Davis. The boy is Noah Wiseman.
Boy.
He
stole the show.
Phenomenal.
He
that
stole
little
the
boy.
movie.
I was convinced there's something wrong with him in real life. I was convinced that maybe they really did get a crazy person to play this child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The thing that I really like this movie, besides the way the monster, the monster's a creepy looking fella. It's her. I can totally relate to this movie. You have no idea. A single mom, always busy, always has her wits about her and whatnot, and having to do with the problem child, who not necessarily a problem child, very curious, very angry, has his
very
own issues. Very smart. My God.
Yeah.
So it's just the relatable part is the fact that she's trying so hard not to snap, and all along the side of this of this movie, this monster is attacking her kid, and she's sitting there trying to keep everything together while not trying to believe that this is happening to her son, completely in denial that their family is being attacked by this monster until it's too late, until things happen. And you have to watch the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because it gets pretty nuts towards the end of the middle, towards the end. And I really do mean it that way. Like the end of the middle.
The end of the middle.
It just gets nuts. So just watch it because it's an insane movie. Again, I will not spoil it, but it's called The Babadook. The cover, the monster, the first thing you see is going to be just this off-putting animal who's just, it looks like it's the creation. It honestly looks like a creation of
a child.
Of a child.
Yeah.
But yes, very good. Very, very good movie. And that is my number. What was that again? Number
5.
And now we're ready for your number 5.
Yep. My number 5, you ask. How dare you, first of all?
Well, I'm sorry. I thought we were.
I'm offended.
I thought we were doing a thing, so I just.
You know what? The thing, yeah. You're right.
I apologize.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You know what? It feels good to be appreciated.
DJ Khaled voice.
Oh, man. Oh, geez. Don't get me started on DJ Khaled. My number 5, you say. My number 5 is the first in the list of comic book movies that, you would think I would have on this list somewhere.
I was waiting for a comic book movie, yes.
So, and it's not your typical comic book movie, and that's Logan. Directed by James Mangold.
All right.
2017. And it's pretty much the last ride of Logan Wolverine from the X-Men series. And being a big fat comic book nerd, literally and figuratively, I know this character inside and out. You know what I mean? I know this character from cartoons to comics to other films. And it feels like the director just said, hey guys, I know you, please act as hard as you can for these characters you've been playing for 10 years. And you gotta think about like Hugh Jackman has been playing this character for 10 years.
It feels longer.
It feels
to be honest.
longer.
Yeah.
And he finally gets to really emote and act through the scenes and go where his head's at about the character. Patrick Stewart kills it. X-23 is in this movie, played by, I believe her name is Daphne Keane, young actress. She must have been like 7 or 8 years old. Stole the film. It's just, it's well acted. It's well shot.
I did see
it's a beautiful film.
But I must have been watching it in and out, like cleaning or whatnot, doing what I have to do because Doesn't she play like his daughter or something?
Yes.
Like a daughter role?
She's the
I
clone.
think I've seen, like I said, I think I was watching it. Yeah, he's very, you're right. And I was like, what is this? Like, cause I didn't even realize it was X-Men. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this movie? Like, cause like, why is he talking?
Yeah, why is he,
like,
why is he
what's going
crying?
on? Yeah, why is he
why is he acting?
talking so much?
Why are you talking so much?
Okay, so I did catch Logan, but I gotta catch it again because
It's probably top 5 comic book movies of all time.
dude,
Like, just because it's so well done. It has the action. It mentions the X-Men. It doesn't strive. It doesn't like run away from the source material like other films.
what is this story about? Because you said Professor X is in this,
Okay.
right? You said
Yeah, it's the far-flung future in Wolverine, and pretty much what happens is that the mutant gene has died out. Mutants aren't being born anymore,
Okay.
and the mutants that were around have either been hunted or killed. So there's not a lot of mutants floating around anymore. But one of the last of the Mohicans is Logan,
right.
and the problem with him is that his healing factor has stopped, so he can't pop his blades anymore because he gets infections. He's getting slower. He's getting older.
Because he's getting older, or just because his mutant gene is
they don't explain
disintegrating?
it. They don't
okay.
explain it.
Oh, okay.
And it's
I'm
like
going too deep.
he's
I'm
just
sorry.
sick. The adamantium in his bones is poisoning him because before he had the healing factor, it was never a problem. But having that kind of metal as a foreign object in his body is slowly killing him. And he's taking antibiotics, and he's working as a limo driver because he has nothing else to do.
Wow.
Professor X is senile, and him being a world-class telepath, he has to keep him in like a missile silo because if Professor X has a bad day, he can pretty much mind wipe half a country just on accident.
Oh wow!
So
Holy crap!
It's really like driven stakes, and all the hope is drained from this world. But the only glimmer of hope is this young girl they find who is extraordinary. No pun intended. But and it's the key to Wolverine's final salvation.
Is she mutant, or do they not
Yeah,
say?
she's a mutant.
Oh, okay.
She's his daughter.
Oh, okay.
So she has all of his
she
abilities.
is his legit daughter.
Yeah, she's a clone.
I just kind of okay. Yeah,
They clone him.
Okay.
And like this.
Oh wow!
And like
That's
this.
neat. I gotta watch this.
It's
movie
super
again.
neat. I love
watch it
Logan,
again.
and it's his final ride, and it's rated R, so he finally gets to get bloody
Cool.
and cut people. Like things they've never been able to do, like show Wolverine really let loose, and this kid just kills it. Like she steals the movie.
I gotta watch it. Man.
So
I
yeah,
have to now.
not to say too much about it, but if
You see, as we're doing this, I'm writing these things down, like these movies that I haven't seen that are on your list. Like I have to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these, we've had 10 years to do this. 10 years to watch these movies or whatnot. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it just that's exciting.
Check it
I
out.
love having new things, and I get to just sit there and
sit there and kind of like, okay, get to watch that.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4, another horror movie, is called Would You Rather.
This is what you told me about. I watched it because of you.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Would
to be
you
honest,
rather?
But
Jeffrey Combs. Dog.
Would You Rather? Yes, sir.
Would You Rather,
came out
man.
in 2012. That's right. Jeffrey Combs. Who directed it? I don't know.
That one guy.
Yeah, it has a lot of cool people in it, though. Yeah, Jeffrey Combs, Rob Wells from Trailer Park Boys.
Yep.
I think this was like one of his first movies.
Like first legit
ever.
serious movies.
Sasha Grey, who's like porn star, pretty famous porn star.
But she
Brittany
could
Snow
act her ass off, though.
Plays I actually, she was one of my favorite characters.
She stole the movie
film.
almost.
Robin Taylor, Gotham. Also in the movie, he plays the prick, spoiled ass prick son.
Yeah.
That basically the movie is about this
Like an eccentric billionaire.
Yeah, this billionaire basically has picks and chooses people who actually need money and desperate for money, and he basically has them doing things that they would never do otherwise. For instance, like one of the more simpler examples is one of the main character, Brittany Snow. She is a vegetarian, and he makes her eat meat for $100 or something like that.
Yeah,
and basically it just escalates from there, and the things that they have to do get more and more disturbing. People end up losing their lives in certain ways. It's, how can I say? Maybe it's like House on Haunted Hill meets
Saw.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's very good if you haven't seen it. Super amazing. But yeah, that's my number 4.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting
number 4 of the decade, baby. It's so good.
We're getting to the beef of it, isn't
Let's
it?
do it.
We're getting into horror row for me.
Cool.
Yes, so I really love Cabin in the Woods more than you could possibly understand, just because it was such a deconstruction of horror films that a big horror film nerd like me just ate it right up. Like, you've seen Cabin in the Woods, right?
I have not seen Cabin in the Woods, Mike. I
can't with
don't look at me.
Don't look at me.
Because the second you started talking about it, I was like, what? How did
Cabin
I
in
miss
the
this?
Woods.
What am I missing
Drew
here?
Goddard, Chris Hemsworth. The film is about 5 kids who go to a cabin in the woods. Jeez.
Nuh-uh.
Shut up. How dare they name it? How dare Lizard Man is the name of his description.
They were up all night.
They were up all night having a good time. They go to this cabin in the woods, and horror ensues. And I'm not going to spoil anything because you haven't watched it. And trust and believe, we're watching this movie later today because it is just the best. It's just so much fun. It's scary. It's funny. It's thought provoking. You're not going to know what to.
I would never have expected. I would never have expected anything that coming out of your mouth right now. I would never have expected that about a movie like that. To be honest,
I did. No one was ready for this movie. It was not.
If you can equate it to any other movie, if it's possible, Evil Dead.
I would equate it to UHF.
Excuse me.
You know how crazy UHF is?
UHF, like the Weird Al
Weird Al
film?
Yankovic film. Because without spoiling it, that's the closest thing I can think of.
Are you kidding? We
It's
gotta watch
insane.
This movie, oh my
it's
god,
the best.
This is ridiculous.
The movie destroys expectations and rebuilds them on the screen, and you're like, wait, what are they doing? It's so Cabin in the Woods, right? The most unassuming name on the planet.
Yeah,
but when you watch it later,
no kidding.
That's all I'm going to say. Cabin in the Woods is 100% amazing.
I guess that's another one I got to write down.
Yes. Wow. 2012, Drew Goddard, Cabin in the Woods. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself. Don't spoil yourself. Just watch it. Just watch the movie from head to toe. I guarantee you'll have a fun time.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we got something to do later, huh?
Yes, we do, ma'am.
Yikes. I got the hairy eyeball for that one. Jeez.
Do it.
Good.
Good.
Oh, God.
What's your number 3?
My number 3. You ready for this? Take a deep breath. My number 3 is Hereditary, which came out in 2018.
This damn movie.
If you have seen this movie, the second I said the title probably gave you instant chills. Directed by Ari Aster, starring Toni Collette, Mila Shapiro,
Toni Collette,
Gabriel Byrne. Basically, this movie. Are you okay?
No.
Did I ruin something?
No.
What?
No.
What happened?
It's just you say the word Hereditary, and I have to say in full disclosure, this movie is on my list. We're on number 3, and this movie's on my list. What does that tell you?
I knew it.
What does that tell you?
I can tell.
This damn movie. I'm just trying to bite my lip.
Well, since it's on your list,
yep.
We'll stop there. Basically, the matriarch of the family, the grandmother passes away, and little by little, the family starts to discover some very disturbing secrets, and that's all I'll say because I want to talk about this later.
Yeah,
we're ready to talk about it. So let's move on to your
sins of the
number
father.
3. You jerk! Because I want to talk about it.
Okay, here's another movie you probably haven't seen. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions, but this movie was so impactful that me and my fellow MOTN reviewer Brian had an argument for like 2 hours about if this movie was better than another movie. I barely swayed him to his decision. And this is Mandy, directed by Panos Cosmatos.
It's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie with Nicolas Cage. And this movie is batshit insane.
You know what? I haven't seen it.
Mandy.
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it.
Remember Heavy Metal, the cartoon that was all rock music and the cosmos and flying chariots and
no.
It's this movie is a Lisa Frank album cover. It's a Lisa Frank cover, but it's a dark, twisted Lisa Frank cover.
Okay.
Where it's about a couple that lives in the woods, and the titular Mandy is Nicolas Cage's lover, and she's walking home from like this weird Canadian like mountain town, and the leader of a cult catches his eye, and and he pretty much kidnaps, he kidnaps pretty much Mandy, and Nicolas Cage has to. I don't want to spoil too much, but Nicolas Cage has to find the cult leader and do things. It's like it's so easy to spoil this film.
Like I gotta watch it. Like again,
like I'll say like
damn
this:
it. Like,
there is a scene where there is a 4-ounce tub of liquefied LSD that Nicolas Cage takes a giant goop of and shoves into his mouth, and his eyeballs explode, and he's on an LSD trip for the whole movie. There's chainsaw fights. There's Road Warrior demons.
My jaws literally dropped because I mean,
it's
Nicolas
crazy.
Cage is one of
there's tigers.
He's one of my favorite people. Not necessarily one of my favorite actors, but one of my favorite people because he's nuts, and I feel like he's
so underutilized and underrated.
Yeah, there we go.
And he acts his ass off in this movie.
I gotta catch.
Mandy's a trip. It literally surprised me that it made my number 3 of all time for this whole decade, right. Because I wasn't expecting anything from it. And this movie just took my brain. It literally stole my time.
When did it come out?
2018.
Oh, okay. So it just came out.
It just came out.
Okay.
It was no movie.
Fresh ass Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
Okay. I'm in.
I recommend anybody to check it out. It's an acid trip.
Again, because I was like, I know, I just heard of it, but that doesn't mean it didn't just come out. You know what I mean? There's like tons of movies that are on Netflix. Like, oh, what's this?
Yeah. It's really nice.
So I remember like, is it on Netflix? It's on something.
It's on something. I think it was like
somewhere.
on Shudder or something like that, or on Amazon. You may have saw it on Amazon.
I remember passing it somewhere, but
it's been all over the place because it didn't have a traditional theatrical release. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
there's no way. Yeah, there's no way. I would not miss that. But
number 2.
Is this my number 2?
Yes, ma'am.
My number 2. Again, number 2 for the decade. Okay, so this is kind of a big deal, you guys.
Kind of a big deal.
And it's kind of, okay, number 2 of the decade. Because seriously, this is a big deal. So my number 2 is Joker. Or The Joker.
Joker?
Or whatever the hell it's called.
Joker?
The literal one that just came out like a few months ago.
I don't know, but it's getting kind of crazy out there.
Yeah, that one.
Why is this number 2?
This is my number 2 because this movie is going to do for the next 10 years what other movies have done in the last 10 years.
Yeah, man.
That's why it's my number 2.
Truth be told, I've never seen. I didn't actually catch The Joker.
The movie's a mess. It's a mess. It is. The movie's a mess. It's a mess. It's you know, on the outside looking in, it's a mess because of the controversy surrounding it and all that bullshit.
Yeah, it's a lot of nonsense around it.
The movie itself
is great, probably.
It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It's unhealthy mess. It really makes you look at yourself in the mirror. You have no choice. This is why everybody was so disgusted by it.
Yeah.
This is why it was so controversial, which is why it had to be here. It had to be on this list, and it had to be where it was because, like I said, this movie, man, it's scary because movies like this, you know, some people take movies a little bit too seriously.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Twitter.
So,
film Twitter is insane.
I'm not even talking about the opinion on how the movie is and the way it was directed and the way people acted. I'm talking about the actual movie itself, what it's about, the formula behind it, and
the subject matter.
Because it's, like I said, that's the part that I think people take seriously. This man is so relatable. This man who's supposedly the Joker, whether he is or not, that's for another review.
Yeah, that's really not. Yeah. The film makes it so that that's
he's
not the
relatable
point.
As fuck.
Yeah. The invisible, majority.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I like about him, which I think you and I have had this conversation many times over, is you're not supposed to sympathize with the Joker.
Never.
You're not supposed to feel sorry for a man who's never going to sit there and feel sorry for you. He gives no fucks about you and your life and your child and your mother and your grandmother.
That's what the Joker becomes.
The Joker is an evil motherfucker. So we're sitting here sympathizing with somebody like that, and it's gross.
Yeah.
Because the way this movie ends, you're like, I fucking fell for it. All this sympathy and all this shit that I feel because I feel I can relate to you, and you go and do that? Man, that's all I'm going to say.
That's the joke.
That's all I'm going to say. So, I mean, like I said, again, the scary part is people take movies like this seriously. So I really would not want to see anything that happened in this movie happen in real life. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it really, if you watch a movie like this, and I like to take movies to heart. I don't take them to heart where they're going to change me in any sort of way, unless it's going to be unless it's going to be towards something positive. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. This movie came out at the right time, and it's going to, if not the movie itself, somebody is going to do something big, and they're going to say they were inspired either by Joaquin Phoenix, by Todd Phillips, by the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
And some seed has been planted already because of this movie. And I just want to see what's going to happen and how it's going to relate
and how it's going to affect film
within the next 10 years. I'm just being honest. That's why it's there.
Awesome.
So your number 2.
So I'm just going to call it like it is. My number 2 film of all time of this decade is The Avengers. Joss Whedon, 2012. Oh, what can I say about this movie?
I'm surprised, Mike, that you didn't have more
superhero stuff,
superhero movies on here.
Only the ones that really hit me.
Okay,
right?
And, yeah,
only the ones that really hit me, like in a way that made me think of my life.
If I remember correctly, you came over after you saw The Avengers, and you were a mess. You were just completely just distraught for some reason.
Yeah,
I'd never seen the movie, and I didn't really ask
because it jacked me up. Because it's one of those things where you didn't think it would ever be real. Like I didn't think the movie was real. Like when I was watching it, and I've told this story before of me and my dad going to Frank and Sons back in the day, and being a kid, and my dad being like, "One day, you're gonna be able to see Spider-Man in real life, like see him on a screen somewhere. They can't do it now, where we were technologically wise." Iron Man can't be on the screen. And these are characters that are household names now.
Right.
But when we were kids, no one knew who Thor was, or Hawkeye, or Black Widow. And these were these very niche nerd things that you felt important because you knew about this little section of the world that no one cared about, comic books. And I remember being a kid and my dad being like, yeah, one day, Mike, you're going to look up in Captain America. It's going to be a household name.
Wow.
And I saw this in a theater by myself once again, and I went to go see you after I saw it, and I cried the whole movie. I got, not because I was like bummed out and the movie was bad. It was because it was a childhood moment that regressed me in the chair. Like I literally, the credits were on, I was my age, but when the movie started to finish, I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And it was this build up because we got to see Captain America. We saw Thor coming up. We saw Iron Man. We saw Hulk. And these are things that are becoming real.
These are the movies that we would talk about when we were in college. The movies that can you imagine? Remember the Batman Superman mashup? How bad we wanted that to happen?
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Right?
Could you imagine? I remember those conversations.
And there was the scene that got me.
Wow.
Is a scene where there's a montage of all of the Avengers working together to fight this giant monolith worm. And it's Captain America jumping off the back of Iron Man and Thor using his electricity to boost. It was this montage, and it hit me like, this is what my dad was talking about. This is that we reached that future where this is, the movie just didn't feel real.
Yeah.
And I came by your place and I was a mental mess. Like I was all over the place because my imagination was still triggering.
Yeah.
And I think this Avengers movie being successful is why the MCU is a multi-billion-dollar entity. Because if this movie failed, none of it would have worked. But this movie was pitch perfect. It was your heroes that looked like your heroes. Because there was a weird time in comic book movies where the heroes that look like what they look like on the book, like the X-Men were in all black and just weird looking, and they looked comic real. It was like it was a moving comic book, and it never really hit home until Avengers 2012. And I will never forget it. I will never, ever forget being in that chair. And just everything I've ever wanted in a comic book movie was this movie.
Wow.
It's still one of my favorite MCU movies ever. It regresses me. Like even talking about it now, it jacks me up. It's just so good.
I'm trying to think if I actually saw it, but I want to say yes, because I think maybe 2 years later, the boys were into like the superhero thing, so I'm pretty sure I've seen it. But I didn't. I'll just never forget it. I just never forget it. And I thought, okay, something happened. Like, what's this guy's problem? I'll never forget that because again, you're like tearing up right now. So I'm like, what is going on with you? You're like tearing up right now. So it's like, wow, man, like it was
very
Mike.
Yeah. So what's your number one?
Well, Mike, after that, I just want to take a deep breath because that was nuts. I mean, that was beautiful. Okay. So my number one, again, of the decade, is Get Out.
Really?
Yes.
Key and Peele's own Jordan Peele's
Yes.
Get Out.
Yes. Get Out. 2017.
2017.
Key and Peele, is that what you call them? Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele.
So bad.
Dude, this movie blew me away in more ways than one. It's not a horror movie. I mean, I don't even know what it is, but I can't pinpoint what it is. It's not a horror movie, and yet it scared the hell out of me.
It's very real.
It's so crazy because it's very real.
And it talks about certain things that, as a culture, we try to ignore or try to overlook or underlook.
Right.
The racial the racial kind of undercurrent of our country will always be there. But this film just kind of brings that out to the forefront.
Yeah, in a very ugly way.
No,
it's
the ugliest,
cringeworthy,
fakest way. It's such a cringy movie.
It's like watching. Let me put it this way, and I really don't want to offend anybody. Watching a white person touch the top of a black person's fluffy hair over and over again. That's what this movie is.
Yeah,
and just saying that alone is cringy as hell.
It's the "Can I touch your hair" check.
It's the "Can I touch your hair" check. Yes,
yeah.
the whole
the movie.
And,
the movie.
But scary as hell. The movie.
Can I touch your hair? The movie. Man,
and again, not to offend anybody, this movie was made. It's real. It's out there. I didn't make it. It's just that's basically what the movie is. Man, it's moving. It's moving. You know what I mean? Like it. Again, movies like this that bring things to the forefront that are not always there. This is why my whole list. Now that I'm looking back at it, my whole list is that movies that make you look at yourself in the mirror and do what you will with what you see.
Yep.
So that's basically what Get Out is to me, and that's why it's my number one.
Jeez, yeah, that was talking about bars. You will what you see. Dang.
That's later, Holmes. That's later. Watch me. I'm gonna spit this.
That made a lymph node jump.
You're so stupid.
I felt the lymph node move.
But yeah, that's my number one, man. I don't want to say so much about it because, if you haven't seen it, you really have to watch it. But basically, it's about this interracial couple. The couple goes and visits
the parents.
The parents of the Caucasian, the female. And shenanigans ensue, and the way that shenanigans ensue, it's extremely dark, again, extremely cringy. And the way the movie ends, there is no hero, really, which is interesting to me because you would think pretty much, a very strong black cast, a very strong, amazing, phenomenal black director. You would think he'd want to have a hero at the end be a black person as a hero, but it just doesn't happen that way. And that interests me a lot more than maybe the movie itself, because what are we waiting for? I mean, even the hero at the end of Night of the Living Dead, which was made in the 1960s, was a black man, and he ended up. Can I spoil the 1960s Night of the Living Dead? He ended up dying.
Spoilers.
They ended up killing him, and he was the whole.
That's the whole point. Of the movie. He was assassinated.
So, So it was just interesting that Jordan Peele almost took similar direction again without spoiling it. But it's just good movie, just an all around good movie.
I take it.
One of those things.
One of those movies that adjusted the course of film.
Right. Oh my God. And in more ways.
It was a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Groundbreaking as an MF. Darn it. Okay. Well, that's my number one. We'll do honorable mentions after, but I want to hear your number one. I'm ready, baby.
So, as I've alluded to earlier, and I got to adjust myself for this, my number one film of the entire decade, beating out the nostalgia of the Avengers, beating out the wackiness of Cabin in the Woods, is a horror film because I'm a horror nerd. And as I mentioned earlier, it's Hereditary. Mm-hmm. Ad Asner, 2018, recent film. And being a horror nerd, growing up with this stuff, you get desensitized, right? Like, it takes a lot to freak me out nowadays, right? You see a horror movie.
Same.
When I watch a horror movie, I'm doing a couple of things in my head at the same time.
Same, usually.
I'm analyzing the plot. I'm looking through special effects. I'm looking through makeup effects. I'm analyzing the storyline. This damn movie got under my skin so bad that I was just a spectator.
Yeah,
I
same.
wasn't analyzing anything. I wasn't trying to see through the wall. I was just like, oh shit.
And you wanted to know what was going to happen next, but you were
never going to get
terrified.
it. You were terrified.
I was terrified the whole movie. I didn't, dude.
I couldn't watch it. I still haven't seen it all the way through again.
Okay,
it jacked me up that much.
The scene where he's in his class.
That jacked me up.
That's probably, it's giving me chills. That's probably the worst scene in the entire movie, aside from the horrifying, terrible shit that happens towards the end of the movie. That gets me.
It's the scene where he's in bed and his mom is trying to choke him, and she snaps out of it, and he's like, and he's freaked out.
Yeah,
because it's in the middle of the damn night.
Yeah,
and this movie is almost mathematically directed to just get under your skin. It's a tapeworm, this movie. It sneaks in, and its subtle arrangement of shadow, of light, of sound, of adjustment, of writing. Toni Collette is a powerhouse in this movie.
No kidding.
The scene where she's at therapy and she's just breaking down her life is mesmerizing. Yeah. And everyone in the actual
it's a focus group.
It's a focus group. It's just a gas, and she's talking about it with this natural casualty to it, and I'm like, geez,
completely numb, almost like.
There's and it's the subtle things. It's seeing the grandmother in the corner, and there's no noise, there's no sound to indicate the scare. If you're paying attention, you see it, right? And it's things things you miss. Yeah. And the metaphor of her models versus her life, right? And the coldness of Gabriel Byrne as the father, right? Who's just trying to deal with this
hardly, but yes,
in his own weird way. Right. The daughter, who is this? Was the daughter wearing a makeup effect? I can't tell.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so. The daughter just has this
very unique face,
very unique, almost uncanny valley,
right?
Kind of where it's like her. It's just distorted, just a hair, like a microscopic hair. But this little girl is so unsettling, right? And so weird. And I get that because I wasn't chopping up, cutting up, bird heads and putting them in my pocket. But I get being the off kid, being
the off kid, quiet, always drawing.
And
always kind of just
this movie reminds me of like Psycho, where you're not expecting what's going to happen to happen, right? And it happens so early that it just throws the rest of the movie like anything can happen.
Well, what's next?
What can possibly be next?
I mean, it's so unfortunate we can't really spoil it, and I don't want to spoil it. Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it because there's someone out there who's listening to this who's never seen Hereditary, and just let it rock.
And don't write us hate mail because we didn't make the movie.
It's that bad. If it jacks you up that bad,
it's that bad.
It's like Martyrs. Like, don't recommend it to friends.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's my number one movie of the decade. It's horror perfection.
It's horror perfection. It's absolute. It's It's beyond that. I think because
it's film directing perfection.
It
so
was
good.
And there's actually other movies that are a little bit. And again, we're talking about this decade, but that that have been more disturbing, have been a little bit more darker, none of them have been put together this way, like you said.
No, it's mathematically, systematically.
My God, yes.
It just jacks you up.
Yes,
it's so good.
The horror movies that have build up like this, they're rare, and two, they're just. I lost my train of thought, Mike. Because I'm sitting here like thinking of scenes. Like I'm sitting here like, and I can't even say what the scenes are. Like it's so stupid because this makes
the attic scene. I'm not no spoilers.
The attic scene. That's what's in my head right now. I can't believe you just said that.
It's like watching a nightmare. This movie,
right? Your own nightmare, and
it's so crazy.
Remember, this is about a family. This movie is about a family,
and it's the most grounded thing on earth. The most mundane.
What are they called?
Nuclear family.
Nuclear family. Just
the most mundane thing happens. A death in the family.
Right.
And from those actions, it just spirals out of control.
That's it. It's insane. It's so good. Amazing choice.
Amazing choice. You chose it too.
Amazing choice.
Doctor.
Right.
Doctor. Let's get to some honorable mentions.
For show.
You have any?
I do. My very first honorable mention, and I've been sitting on it because I just recently saw it, and it's shame on me because it's a good movie. Straight Outta Compton.
Crazy mother effer named Gusto.
Yeah. Gary Gray director. O'Shea Jackson Jr. An amazing job. I kind of recently just saw it. And I loved it. And I kind of wanted it to make my list. And the only reason why I didn't make my list is because I just saw it. I can't be like, oh, Straight Outta Compton is so good. Like, I didn't want to front.
Makes sense. I understand.
Yep, honor mention. Such a good movie. If you haven't caught that one, dude, you have to. Amazing. Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton.
Son.
I'll go with one. You mentioned it earlier, Shutter Island.
Oh, cool.
Was one of my honorable mentions.
Cool.
Martin Scorsese, like you said.
Uh-huh.
Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio. Who done it? But you know who did it?
Okay.
That kind of weird thing.
Shutter Island is really good.
I love that movie.
Scared the shit out of me.
Love
actually.
that movie.
Yeah, it was good.
What else you got?
My next one, I have a lot, dude, but my next one I think that I want to talk about is Scott Pilgrim.
Ooh, Saves the World.
Yeah, I
that
enjoyed
book
it.
jacked me up. I read the books.
I didn't read
and
the book.
I watched the movie. That hit too close to home for me.
I liked it. It was
I love it. It's the quaint Canada all day.
Rangers. That's for you, Winter.
That's for you, Winter. Trash Monk the Third. Another one of my honorable mentions, a movie you put me on, Paranorman.
You're shut the fuck up. That's my next honorable mention.
Paranorman.
Oh my god.
I love this film.
You're great, Mike. It's right here. It's
between this and Coraline. Between this and Coraline, it's like a weird tie. So but Paranorman talks to me a little bit more. I love the stop motion. Just this team keeps
Travis Knight, by the way.
Travis Knight,
phenomenal
director,
amazing. He's I
want him to do more. I want him to do more.
The puppeteer, animator, clay guy. I don't know what to call.
He's just a brilliant dude. So
he's amazing.
1,000 Years Paranorman.
Sam Fell and Chris Butler directed Paranorman.
Yep,
it's a cartoon. Claymation.
Nightmare Before Christmas-ish.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. Anna Kendrick, dude, the cast is amazing. Anna Kendrick, Casey Affleck, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Leslie Mann's in it. Jeff Garland plays the father.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Amazing.
I love that movie.
He's the reason why I call Ouija. That's what he calls it.
The Ouija.
Paranorman, good
stuff.
Sweet. I guess my last honorable that I want to mention, and I have a lot, like I said, will be. You know what? I'm gonna go with Train to Busan.
I never saw that.
I'm gonna go with Train to Busan.
Zombie movie, right?
It's a zombie movie. It's a Korean horror. It's fast paced. It's basically them on a train trying to get away from zombies that are on the same train as them.
Yeah.
Let me see. I want to just for recognition. It was directed by Yeon Sang Ho, and the actors were Yu Guan. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own writing. And Yumi Jung, and I'm sorry. I just have to give these people recognition. I mean, just in case. You know what I mean? But yeah, Train to Busan. That's probably going to be my last.
I'm super torn.
Dude.
I don't know.
Train to Busan's really good, you guys. Like, if you haven't seen it, and you like horror movies, it's a good one.
What's going to be my final?
A lot of jump scares.
There's so many I want to talk about, but my final I'm just going to, and my eyeball keeps going towards it. It's just going to be Crimson Peak, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's so pretty.
You know me and Guillermo.
Suicide by Scissors. And Tentacles and Viscera. This movie has all that. It's just you ever seen that one Stanley Kubrick movie? What is it called? Billy Wyndham or Barry Windsor, where it's like a 18th century kind of. It's a hoity-toity fancy movie.
No, never.
Okay, and Crimson Peak reminds me of that, where Guillermo del Toro is a monster kid. He's a big horror kid. But this isn't a horror movie. It's a romance. It's a love story. But it's told in this backdrop of gothic horror. And every inch of this film is Guillermo. It's the most Guillermo movie he's ever directed.
Okay.
It's
the
about...
most Guillermo movie ever.
It's a ghost story that's a love story.
Okay.
And... it has Tom Hiddleston in it. It has a couple of different actors. I'm trying to remember the actress.
Is it like Shape of Water-esque?
No, it's kind of like it's like Dracula. It's like Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
Directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay. Where
it's scary. It has jump scares. It's amazing, but it's also this beautiful, almost like ethereal film. It feels like a dream. Everything is just perfectly
shot. Most of his
shot.
movies are like that, if I'm being honest. Yeah, Guillermo pulls that out very well.
He pulls that out very well.
Your imagination, you don't really need one when you watch a movie with him.
No, it's all on the screen.
It's all there, yeah.
And it's just this, it's like, the movie feels like you're dancing. in a weird way.
Again, that's all his movies to me.
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth is the same thing, if you ask me.
Yeah, it just feels like you're dancing
It's a
through this
giant
movie.
dance.
And
Did
it's
he
just,
do The Orphanage? No, right?
No, you're
Maybe
thinking
not.
of remember? You're thinking of The Devil's Backbone.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Yes,
The
yes,
blood
yes,
flows
yes.
up.
Yeah.
Children will kill each other. And that's all my honorable mentions.
Cool.
What's your overall thought of this decade? As we're exiting this decade for a brand new one.
Let's see, 2010 to 2019. Well, one, I'm glad it's over.
Hallelujah for that.
I'm ready for more growth. I'm
Growth.
ready to. I don't know, man.
The future of film, man.
I'm
More
chilling.
indies. More indies. I want more indie films.
More indie films.
I want more indie horror.
I want more things that are going to make an impression. That's it. I don't want cookie cutter movies anymore.
That's
Let's
sad
put it that
because
way.
apparently Disney had 80% of the box office this year.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
terrifying.
That sucks. That sucks
But-
because it's like I don't know.
It's a sign of it's a horrible portent of the future. But with movies like Hereditary, with movies like The Big Short, with movies
Right.
that are just small in scope but are powerful and have something to say.
Right.
Midsommar is another movie that came out.
Midsommar, yeah.
That almost made my
that
list.
almost made my list too, you
Yeah,
weirdo. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
There's hope for these smaller films to really shine.
Yeah,
these
for
young directors to really shine. And I think this is going to be a good decade for movies. I think a lot of people are going to break out.
I'm looking forward to it. It wouldn't matter because I know for a fact in 10 years when we're still doing this in our big mansions,
In our giant
When we're-
MOTN boats.
when we're sponsored by Disney Plus,
and we have
And,
we have baby giraffes just at the house.
when we get there, I know we're going to have another beautiful list of 10 movies
10
that just
movies.
blew us away. So
That-
full faith.
Full
I'm
faith.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
going to happen. Where can we find you, Tootie?
You can find me at Tootie O My Hero, TOOTI O My Hero. And that's everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Mexico, China.
Mexico, China, Zimbabwe.
That's me, Tootie O My Hero.
What used to be Zanzibar, the Tigris in the Euphrates River. It's in there.
Is Zanzibar not there? Alderaan. I don't know.
Alderaan, the forest moon of Endor. If you like this nerd crap and you want more, check us out on our website. That's mastersoftheniverseCast.com, where we have all of our episodes archived. A lot of Tootie Odin on there. Top 10 Simpsons. Whoop, whoop. Listen to it. Also, you can check us out on Twitter. That is at mnerdiverse, where we have fun with the podcasting community. We do polls. We release new content there. And if you're a follower, then you'll be, I would say, abreast to all of those new,
Nice.
all of those new content. And if you want to support the channel, you can always join our Patreon, which is at mnerdiverse, Patreon.com/MOTN. And you can give us $1 and we'll make it holler, as it were, like we were in Magic City Monday. Ooh, get 'em. And I would definitely, if this is your first time listening to the episode or our podcast, rather, I would like to be the first one to welcome you to the Nerdiverse. Tootie, thank you for being on the show once again.
Thank you.
You
as
are a
always.
beacon
It was a blast.
of light and power.
My hair is frizzing wild because it was just
Frizzing wild.
the best
That was bullshit blazing
hour, whatever it's been
of
I've had
our,
in a while.
of our
So,
lives.
Amazing.
And I will always ask you to look towards the skies. Look towards the skis.